Let's talk now, though, to Karl Muhlbach, who's a Berlin-based economist and founder of Fiscal Future, because in the Bundestag, Olaf Scholz apparently has lost a confidence vote, and it might well be that the government has now got not much of a future ahead of it. Let's find out. Karl, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Thank you very much for joining us. He's had a bit of rough few months, hasn't he, Olaf Scholz? In fact, he hasn't really been doing too well since he was visited by Keir Starmer earlier on in the summer after he was elected the Prime Minister of this country. But what's going to happen now?
Well, Chancellor Olaf Scholz triggered the vote of confidence on purpose, and he wanted to lose it because that's the way to have early elections. So here in Germany, we are going to have elections at the end of February, and then a new government to address the big challenges our country faces.
Yes, and the political sort of foundations are shifting quite a bit, aren't they? You've got quite a lot of right-wing parties coming up on the inside, quite a lot of people moving in that direction. Is Olaf Scholz likely to be no longer the Chancellor, do you think, after that election?
There are two contenders who are likely to become the next Chancellor. There's a conservative Friedrich Merz, who is ahead in the polls, but Olaf Scholz is the second likeliest person to, let's say, stay Chancellor. And 4 years ago, he was way behind, and he managed to win the election. Nobody thought it, so it might be possible again, but most likely it's going to be the conservative Friedrich Merz to win the election.
Yeah. And what is driving the change in political kind of fortunes there in Germany? Because there's been quite a few interesting developments, particularly on the migration front.
Well, definitely we have got a lot of topics that are discussed in Germany, but there's one topic that was, let's say, groundbreaking or decisive in breaking the government, and it's economic and financial policy, because we've got huge investment needs in Germany. During the last 20 years, there haven't been enough investments, and there was a discussion within the government on how to finance the future of our country, and this was the thing that led to the government breaking apart.
And the energy problems have kind of dogged the country as well ever since the Ukraine war, really, haven't they? And the over-reliance on Russian gas.
Definitely, Germany was over-reliant on Russian gas, and it was a really tough transition that led to a rising cost of living, leading to many people being displeased with the government, even though it wasn't the government's fault. But I'm happy to say, as an economist, we managed to get through this energy crisis, and we never had blackouts in Germany. So this is, as a matter of fact, a huge success for the outgoing government.
Right. And how are the energy prices doing there now? Because we get told all the time that we have the most expensive electricity in Europe, if not in the world. Have you managed to keep your prices down?
It really depends on. So prices in Germany are really volatile. For example, during the weekend, they've been really high because there was no sun, no wind. And then yesterday, for example, they've been much lower than in France. So it's really up and down with Germany's energy prices.
Right. And was there a time as well when there was talk of starting up some of the coal-fired power stations and starting to dig once again for coal?
Well, the German specialty is that we are not having nuclear plants anymore, and that's the most prominent discussion. The Conservative Party is thinking about re-entering nuclear power plants. That's more an issue than coal.
And what about the European Union's role in all of this? Because we've seen quite a lot of parties from the right winning elections obviously in Italy, in Germany, also in France as well. What's the attitude, would you say, in Germany to the EU?
Well, Germany is a big and important member state of the European Union, and let's say something, we've had so many crises that the debate in Germany is really Berlin-focused and Germany-focused. Of course, we are very happy to be part of the European Union and of the economic unity as well. But it hasn't been much of a debate here in Germany, the European Union.
No. So, I mean, there's no conversation about some of the rules that are being laid down, certainly around immigration, because immigration, obviously, a massive issue here in the UK, has been one, certainly in Italy, has been in France as well. Not an issue in Germany?
It is to some voters, and we've got a far-right party that is polling with 20%, but the most prominent topic for German voters is economic hardship, is economic growth. is the future of our infrastructure, of our education. Those are the more salient topics in Germany right now.
Yeah, okay. Good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Karl Muhlbach there, Berlin-based economist and founder of Fiscal Future. There's likely to be elections in Germany in February, and there's probably more than likely to be a Conservative Chancellor. So that'll be another ally that Keir Starmer loses, basically, because if Olaf Scholz isn't there anymore, will he be as friendly with Germany as he once was? We were hearing this morning about the new cozying up that Starmer is doing kind of around the idea of European Union sort of having a softer approach, shall we say, to exactly what it is that that we want from our relationship with the European Union. Because Keir Starmer, it would seem, wants to sort of go back in through the back door. The Sun have got a campaign kicking off today, basically, saying don't betray Brexit. Big piece by Trevor Kavanagh. Returning to the EU is like rats joining a sinking ship, is what he has to say. And according to the Sun's editorial, in 5 months, Keir Starmer has stretched public trust to breaking point, as Labour's dire polling proves. He can now start to rebuild it or destroy it with what choices he makes on the European Union, because there are 4 things basically up for conversation with the European Union. The first one is the different sorts of laws. The European Court of Justice is at the heart of the EU's plans to tighten its grip on Britain, and Brussels wants Britain to come back into the fold, as it were, so that we would basically give up sovereignty to the European Union, even though we've left it.